So hello guys, it's Sakuems and welcome back on this new video. This week I decided to go old school and do for you a little detailed time-lapse of an artwork that I completed a few months ago. I believe that was done for this summer. This is an apple study done with gouache. I wanted to go back to the basics, do something more simple, explore the textures and the colors, and try to evolve and just have fun with my painting style. So this video was supposed to be for a process tutorial for Patreon, but the month that I've completed this, nobody pledged for the video tier, and so I decided to scrap that idea. I had the raw footage and I've decided to make this available for everybody on this platform. So I want to keep things very casual, chat a bit, explain the process. I want to talk a bit more about what's been going on in my life recently and just give just a little bit of an update and just, yeah, enjoy. It's not a super long video, but you get still to get some chill time with me and explore with me how I'm working on this piece, and yeah, hope you will enjoy that. So my process when it comes to gouache is evolving as I'm trying new things, but it's still very similar each time. It's, you know, playing the sketch, trying to figure out a way to build shadings. Picking colors is a big stage as well. But I've recently come to terms with the fact that it is still a very long process technique, and I have a very hard time focusing for long periods of time when it comes to executing the piece. I love doing research, I love doing preparation, I love looking for references, I love building something like from scratch. But when it comes to the execution of it, actually painting or doing the shading and finishing a piece, this is very tedious for me. The novelty has worn off. I am a dopamine addict. I have ADHD, and sometimes I get stuck in the zone, and I enjoy building what I'm doing on a piece of an artwork. You know, I enjoy making it for sure. But after a couple of hours, I'm done. I want to try to work on something new. I have so many different artworks in the making. I keep starting new projects, and finishing a project is a task. It's really a task. And ultimately, I've realized that lately that I'm better off just doing research or just doing more instinctive work that doesn't take as long compared to making an artwork that would probably require me to paint for like 30 plus hours. I enjoy and have a lot more fun planning and building something and then just go with the flow, and spending 2 to 3 hours on rendering something is enough. It's fun. It's not taking too long. I get to get straight to the point. I don't overwork the piece. And it's better. It's just better overall. I think it just looks better as well. It's not as polished, it has more texture, and I'm still like in a process of trying to figure out the best way to work with that technique for it to look organic and texturized and with a sense of somewhat in between realism and very illustration kind of style. I like the fact that the texture is still there. I like building around the gradient of colors. I like still incorporating different hues. But for this specific piece, I tried my best to have a limit palette. I had the idea of making it as simple as it can be, yet have texture and an interesting look to it, incorporating secondary light source and just a tiny bit more than what would you expect from like a standard red apple looking like, because this is supposed to be a painting, not a photo or a realistic kind of apple painting. So my general process was to build from layering. I did use a tiny bit of watercolors as at first, which you have seen already, but then I built the colors thinking about it being roughly a gradient from yellow to red with a hint of purple, and adding contrast. I didn't use any kind of dark black. I went to the maximum of the darkness, was more of a muted warm purple tone, reddish purple, because, well, I usually don't use any black unless it's meant to be black, you know what I'm saying, but like in the darker shadows and in the dark spots, I try to stick to like dark purples or dark blues. This had a very warmth tone to it, but I wanted contrast, so that's why I went with more of a cool tone purple, and I did use blue in the I guess the floor the floor layer, like it's standing in a kind of a open space you don't really know, but I used the blue to complement the contrast between the blue tones and the red oranges tones, so have a complementary kind of contrast. And the yellow tones are also found in the sky, I guess, or like the top, like the above layers in the background. That way it kind of resonates with the rest of the piece. I like having colors to connect things in the piece, which is what I usually do in my artworks, and that's also why they work from a color standpoint. But when it comes to colors, I feel like I know my stuff, and everybody who's been following me has been asking to find more about color theory and how I'm doing things. The best way for me to describe that, and this is why I'm making this video with a full process where you can really see the shading being built up, is having to think about a general color scheme. So here I had in mind just to build colors around the red and yellows, and the red can be connected to purple tones and blues, and the yellow are closer to white, and just by having that as a way to build the general color scheme, then after I have that in mind, I can play around with the colors, which means that I usually just have to think about the basic color scheme, and then later in the video you will see that I'm adding more texture, I'm adding different hues and just accent colors that you will, you know, I think it will make the piece look kind of well put together. But that's just like another part of the process when it comes to building shading. But yeah, I don't have a lot to say when it comes to the topic. Of course, it's just an Apple study, but I do want to make more resources on this platform and on my Patreon page for future generations. But like just in the future in general, I would like to teach a bit more. I would like to provide resources and explain how I do things, maybe more real-time tutorials, more simple things, you know, building a gradient, building textures, how to select colors. I do have planned some things for next couple of weeks. I wanted to do this today, do like a art challenge of some sort with only 3 colors, you know, 3 gouache colors, showing that you can build shading and you can build an entire piece with just 3 shades. But I'm running out of time. As I'm recording this, it's almost almost 5 p.m, so I don't have time to work on that today. So that's why this week's is the Apple study, and next week we'll take a look at how I'm doing an artwork with only 3 colors using just gouache, and hopefully you will find that interesting. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope that you will find this interesting. I hope that the process is still helpful, just seeing how I'm building everything. If you would like to see more of those study about texture maybe, or just building shading of specific things or the specific technique, let me know in the comment section. Let me know like what you would like to know more of, because I would love to make a series on color theory and more how-to videos, but they do require a lot of work, and I have to also think about making things slightly easier on me when it comes to a backlog of content. If I were to put, let's say, 10 hours on a project, I also need to have more simple project on the side, content that will require maybe like 1 or 2 hours to produce, so I have enough in a backlog to post while I'm working on a bigger project. So that's why I'm also aiming at making like more small challenges, sketches, things like that, fan art. If you have any suggestions about what you want to learn, then yeah, post a comment, let me know. I would gladly listen to all of that. I do have a lot of base content from previous comments, but I still would like to know, because this format is very specific. I would like to make one of those every month. I would like to keep doing those if you find them interesting. I like watching the process of an artist, building a piece from scratch. So hopefully you will like that too. But yeah, that's pretty much what I had to say about this design. I'll let you enjoy just a tiny bit more of the art process before I come back. Now, before I talk about more on the personal side of things, what's been going on in my life, I would like to just add in just more information about what I mentioned earlier about accent colors and just building texture. So you see what I'm doing right now is actually creating like the dot effects and more contrasted shadows, and adding those accent colors are very important. I feel like they really just bring the piece together. I'm adding like greens for the leaves, but just not for the leaves, but I'm also adding tiny bits of blue specks and purples and even a bit of pink in the red to create more dimension on that specific piece, to make it interesting looking. Even if the topic is pretty plain, it's just a bunch of apples, you can still make things very interesting from a color standpoint and a texture standpoint. I've created the texture that I had been looking at because I had actually an apple in my hand, just to create a tiny bit of the dotting effect that you have on certain apples. But it's pretty hard to do. There's such a complexity when it comes to textures on fruits. So I had the illusion of that, but it still managed to make it somewhat look like it is. It wasn't supposed to be extremely realistic. It was supposed to provide content and resources when it comes to shading this kind of items with one technique, one tool only. I only use the gouache. So I find it quite interesting, and hopefully that you will learn from that. But yeah, that's pretty much what I had to say about the process of the specific artworks. If you'd like to find more about how I'm doing things, if you have any suggestion, let me know in the comment section. Let me know really what you would like to know and like what you would like to learn, because I think that very specific process, very specific tutorials are easier to understand than, let's say, an entire time lapse about an artwork. So that will be very helpful for me. Now, on a personal note, because I have a few minutes left, I'm doing okay. I've been pretty tired lately, had a bit of a rough time this past week. I had been very stressed out about various things. I want my life to move forward, and I was just very anxious, but thank God I just took time off. I brought in my note, like in my diary and all. And like I said, I'm a very anxious person, and it gets in my head and I get exhausted. So I had just to chill out a bit, and I talked about it to my partner and we sorted things out. And now it's all going better. Hopefully that it will just help for the future. I do feel better. I'm still a bit worried. I'm just waiting for the next couple of weeks to just lay out. I'm not so much of a holiday last part of the year person. Christmas is a very stressful season for me, so yeah, I'm gonna take it slow. I will be taking time off around the 20th, and hopefully the rest of this year will just be chilled and just rest and have more energy to start new things in 2025. On a different topic about my actual artist life, I am also extremely grateful because the launch of my last coloring set went amazingly well. I finally get sales, I'm finally picking myself up, I am able to make a living and put things on the side. It's been going well and I have a lot of traffic back on the store, so thank you so much for your support, you guys. If you don't know and you would like to check it out, I do have a new coloring set called the Witchcraft Coloring Set. It's all about magical symbols with like witches, demon, casts, and magician tools and all of those things. It's a smaller set, it's only 10 designs, but they're very strong individual like concept art, and I really am super proud of that. And apparently a lot of people like it, so if you'd like to check it out, make sure to check the store. It's available on Etsy, link will be below. Also, I'm running low on stock. I ordered 20 copies of each design, like watercolor, cardstock, and the small set, and I'm already almost 50% sold out. So I still have a few left, but it's going fast, so if you'd like to check out, that would be, you know, just doing it in a timely manner, because you may have to wait a long time for the restock, because I won't be able to restock until mid-January, so yeah. Hopefully you will like this video. I enjoyed very much talking to you guys, explaining my process. If you want to find out more about how I'm doing things, more detailed voiceovers and all, I do have Patreon for that. Every month I'm putting up a hour-long process explaining in details how I'm doing certain parts of an artwork, like the hair or the face, you know, building shading with markers or pencils. So if you'd like to see that in the future and you want like a more complex, in-depth actual tutorial, you can join on my Patreon. You can also just follow me there and join for free, so you will have more uploads, more sneak peeks and sketches, and just be up to date with what I'm doing. That would be amazing. So yeah, that's basically it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully you will have a nice week, and I'll see you on Wednesday if you'd like to see me stream, and on Monday for my next video. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. Bye bye!